Turner is trying to put Sonny in prison. That much feels obvious, almost too obvious, like the writers want us to see it coming from miles away. But at the same time, there is a strange undercurrent, something messy and not fully clean, that makes me pause. What if Turner is also falling for Sonny? What if the whole thing is not just strategy, but emotion bleeding into strategy? Nobody really knows what is going to happen, and that uncertainty is what makes it feel dangerous. Through the conversation between Turner and Jordan, fans are given a certain version of the truth. Turner talks as if Sonny is just a target, just another criminal to be taken down, and that any emotional involvement is simply a tool. It sounds calculated. It sounds cold. Turner implies that Sonny's feelings can be used, twisted, leveraged, and maybe that is exactly what is happening. Maybe Turner is studying Sonny like a case file, looking for weaknesses, and love just happens to be the weakest point. But here is where I start to doubt things. Is everything Turner told Jordan actually true? Or is Turner lying even there? Because people who manipulate often lie in layers. They lie to the target, and they lie to their allies, and sometimes they even lie to themselves. It would not be shocking if Turner is pretending to be unaffected while secretly being pulled in deeper than intended. I keep thinking about that possibility. It does not feel impossible. Turner kissed Sonny. That is not a small thing. You do not just kiss someone you completely despise, especially when the stakes are that high. Unless Turner is that committed to the mission, which is possible, but still, a kiss changes something. Physical closeness is messy. It creates cracks in the armor. If Turner truly felt nothing, would Turner have gone that far? Maybe yes, if the goal is prison at any cost, but maybe no. Maybe there is something real there, something Turner does not want to admit. Even if the feelings are real, that does not mean the mission disappears. Turner is still the district attorney. Turner still has a job, a responsibility, maybe even an obsession with bringing Sonny down. So imagine the conflict inside Turner, wanting Sonny, needing Sonny, but also building a case against him. That is not a stable emotional state. That is the kind of tension that explodes. If Turner is deceiving Sonny emotionally, if this is all a setup, then the fallout will be brutal. Sonny does not handle betrayal well. That is not speculation, that is history. Sonny hates being manipulated. He hates being used. And he especially hates it when it comes from someone he loves. If Sonny is starting to fall for Turner, really fall, then the betrayal will not just hurt, it will trigger something darker. We have seen this before. Fans remember Sonny and Nina. Sonny loved Nina deeply, enough to marry her. It was not casual. It was not a fling. It was commitment. And when that marriage collapsed after Sonny discovered deception, it was explosive. Even though Nina was not actively targeting Sonny in some grand scheme, even though she was careful and knew when to step back, the damage was done. Sonny does not process betrayal in a calm, reasonable way. He reacts. After Nina there was Ava. Ava also had her complicated history with Sonny, but Ava understood survival. She knew when to pull back. She did not push him into a corner where he would feel completely humiliated or trapped. Ava has always had that instinct, that sense of self-preservation. She does not go too far. She does not aim directly at Sonny's power structure in a way that forces a violent response. Turner feels different. Turner does not seem like someone who will step back. Turner seems like someone who will push forward, even when the ground is unstable. That is what makes this situation so volatile. Because if Turner is actively building a case, gathering evidence, pretending to love Sonny while preparing handcuffs, that is not just betrayal. That is a threat to everything Sonny stands for. And Sonny protects his empire. Sonny protects his reputation. Sonny protects control. When someone threatens that, even someone close, the reaction is not mild. Look at what happened with Dante. Dante is Sonny's son, blood, family. And yet when Sonny discovered that Dante had been an undercover agent in the past, spying, the reaction was violent. Sonny attacked his own son. That tells you everything about how Sonny views betrayal. It does not matter who you are. Once you cross that line, you become a target in his mind, at least for a moment. Then there was Dex. Dex almost lost his life when Sonny found out about the betrayal. The anger was not symbolic. It was physical, immediate, dangerous. Sonny does not just cut people off. He punishes. That is the pattern. And the most extreme example is Cates. An FBI agent, someone operating under the law, someone who thought he was protected by his badge and his authority. Sonny killed him. That still echoes. It shows that Sonny does not care about titles. FBI, district attorney, whatever. If you threaten him deeply enough, you are not safe. So what about Turner? If Turner is actively trying to send Sonny to prison, if Turner is collecting evidence while whispering promises, that is a massive risk. District attorney or not, that position might not shield Turner from retaliation. In fact, it could make things worse. It could make Sonny feel even more cornered. I keep imagining the moment of discovery, Sonny finding out that the kisses were part of a strategy, that the late night conversations were calculated, that every vulnerable confession he made was potentially recorded or reported. That kind of realization would not just hurt him emotionally, it would wound his pride, and Sonny's pride is dangerous when injured. There is also the possibility that Turner underestimates Sonny. Maybe Turner believes that love will blind him completely, that he will never suspect, that he will not see the trap forming. But Sonny has survived for decades in a criminal world. He knows manipulation. He has used it himself. If he senses even a hint of betrayal, he might strike before Turner can finish building the case. It is not hard to imagine a scenario where Turner gets too close to the truth, too close to arresting Sonny, and suddenly becomes the one in danger. Not legally, physically. Because Sonny has never waited politely for handcuffs. He removes obstacles. And yet, I cannot fully shake the idea that Turner might actually care. That maybe Turner started this with pure professional intent, determined to bring Sonny down, convinced that romance was just a tactic. But feelings have a way of growing in the wrong direction. Maybe Turner did not plan on liking Sonny's vulnerability, or his charm, or that strange code of loyalty he has. Maybe it was supposed to be simple. Target him, seduce him, arrest him. Done. But nothing with Sonny is ever simple. If Turner is falling in love while simultaneously preparing to betray him, that is a tragic setup. Because either way, someone gets destroyed. If Turner chooses the law, Sonny's heart breaks and the retaliation could be lethal. If Turner chooses Sonny, then Turner betrays the oath, the career, everything built up to this point. There is no clean outcome. And honestly, I think Turner is playing with fire without fully realizing how hot it is. This is not just another criminal case. This is Sonny Corinthos. A man who has survived wars, betrayals, family conflicts, federal investigations. A man who has killed to protect his world. If Turner thinks this is just strategy, that it can all be controlled, that emotions can be switched off when the time comes, that feels naive. It would not surprise me if Sonny attacks first. If he senses the shift, if he connects the dots before Turner expects, we have seen him do worse for less. The thought of Turner being taken out before even making the arrest is not far-fetched in this universe. At the same time, part of me wonders if this storyline is setting up something even more complicated. Maybe Turner will hesitate at the final moment. Maybe the arrest warrant will sit unsigned. Maybe the evidence will mysteriously disappear. Or maybe Turner will go through with it and the consequences will spiral out of control in ways nobody can fix. Right now, everything feels like a ticking clock. Turner moving closer to prison for Sonny. Sonny possibly moving closer to discovering the truth. Love tangled with deception. Power mixed with vulnerability. It is unstable, uncomfortable, and honestly kind of fascinating to watch. One thing feels certain. If Turner is truly betraying Sonny's heart while plotting to cage him, the explosion will not be quiet. And based on history, based on Dante, Dex, Cates, even Nina in a different way, the person who betrays Sonny rarely walks away untouched. And the more I think about it, the more I feel like Turner is standing on a thin line that could snap any second. Not just professionally, but personally, emotionally, physically. Because loving Sonny, or pretending to love Sonny, those are two completely different risks, yet both are dangerous in their own way. If it is fake, Sonny will eventually know. If it is real, Turner might hesitate at the worst possible moment. Either way, someone bleeds. I keep going back to that conversation with Jordan. Turner sounded confident, almost smug, like everything was under control, like Sonny was just another chess piece. But people who talk like that sometimes overestimate themselves. What if Turner is trying to convince Jordan and also trying to convince their own heart? What if saying it out loud makes it easier to believe that this is just strategy? I do not fully trust what Turner says. Not to Jordan, not even to themselves. Because there were moments, small ones, when Turner looked at Sonny not like a prosecutor looking at a criminal, but like someone who is curious, drawn in, maybe even soft. And that softness is not fakeable forever. You can perform attraction for a while, sure, but real chemistry slips through in ways you cannot script. A pause that is too long, a smile that is not calculated, a touch that lingers a second too much. And if Turner is truly developing feelings, then this is no longer a clean mission. It becomes messy, confused. Imagine trying to send someone you are falling for to prison. Imagine gathering evidence knowing it could destroy them. That does something to a person. It fractures them inside. Still, Turner might push through. Maybe ambition wins. Maybe the need to be the one who finally takes down Sonny is stronger than whatever romantic pull is happening. There is pride involved here too. Being the district attorney who succeeds where others failed, that is a powerful temptation, and Sonny is not just any case. He is the case. But that is exactly why this is so reckless, because Sonny does not respond well to being cornered, and if he senses that Turner is building a cage around him, he will not sit quietly. He never has. People sometimes forget how quickly Sonny can shift from calm to explosive. One minute he is talking softly, the next minute someone is on the ground. We saw it with Dante, his own son. That scene still lingers in my head. The shock, the rage, the disbelief. Blood does not protect you if you are seen as a traitor. So what protection does Turner really have? A badge? A title? An office? Those things look strong on paper, but paper burns. And the Cates situation proves that law enforcement status is not a shield. Cates was FBI, trained, armed, backed by the federal government. It did not matter. When Sonny decided he was a threat, that was the end. That is not something to ignore. That is not ancient history. It is a pattern. Dex almost died too. The punishment for betrayal in Sonny's world is not symbolic. It is not a stern conversation and a goodbye. It is physical. It is final. Turner has to know this. Turner is not naive about who Sonny is, which makes the current situation even more unsettling. If Turner is playing Sonny emotionally while secretly preparing charges, that is not just betrayal, that is humiliation. And humiliation is something Sonny reacts to very badly, especially from someone he let close. The closer you are, the deeper the knife. I also think about Sonny's past with Nina again, and how devastated he was when that marriage collapsed. Even though Nina did not set out to destroy him, even though she was not building a legal case behind his back, the sense of deception was enough to shatter everything. Now imagine if this time it is intentional. If Turner actually uses affection as bait, that would not just break Sonny's heart. It would attack his sense of control. And control is everything to him. His business, his family, his image. If he feels played, especially publicly, the response could be extreme. And here is the part that keeps bothering me. What if Sonny already suspects something? What if he is letting it play out? Sonny has survived too long to ignore red flags. Maybe he notices the questions Turner asks, the subtle probing about past deals, about allies, about movements. Maybe he pretends not to notice. Maybe he is watching Turner just as closely. If that is the case, then Turner might be in more danger than they realize. Because if Sonny confirms betrayal before the arrest happens, he could act first. It would not even be shocking. It would be consistent with who he has always been. There is also the emotional angle that no one talks about enough. What if Sonny genuinely loves Turner? Not just attraction, not just chemistry, but something deeper. That would make the potential betrayal catastrophic. And a heartbroken Sonny is not a safe Sonny. Pain turns into rage very fast with him. I can imagine a confrontation. Turner holding evidence, maybe even a warrant ready. Sonny finding out in the worst possible way. The look on his face shifting from confusion to understanding to fury. That silence before he speaks, that is the most dangerous moment. Not the shouting, the silence. And honestly, I am not sure Turner survives that kind of confrontation untouched. Maybe not physically killed, maybe the show does not go that far this time, but emotionally or professionally destroyed. Or maybe it does go that far. This world has crossed that line before. At the same time, there is a small part of me that wonders if Turner will crack first, if the feelings become too real. If the idea of seeing Sonny in prison behind bars stripped of power becomes unbearable, maybe Turner delays filing something. Maybe evidence goes missing, maybe a key witness is never called. That would be its own form of betrayal, just in the opposite direction. Either choice ruins something. Choose the law, risk death or retaliation. Choose Sonny, lose the career, the integrity, the identity built over years. It is not romantic, it is tragic. And the worst outcome, in my opinion, would be Turner trying to have both, pretending to continue the case while secretly protecting Sonny. That kind of double game collapses fast. Someone always finds out. And in this case, both sides are ruthless in different ways. What makes this storyline compelling, at least to me, is that there is no safe path. Not really. Every option leads to some form of destruction. Sonny's track record tells us what he does with betrayal. Turner's ambition tells us they will not easily back down. And love, if it is even real, just complicates everything further. So yes, I think it is very possible that Turner could end up being attacked before ever putting Sonny in prison. I think that risk is real. The history supports it. Dante, Dex, Kate, these are not small examples. They are warnings. But I also think Turner might underestimate the emotional cost, not just the physical danger. Falling for someone you are supposed to destroy changes you. Even if Turner wins legally, even if Sonny ends up in a cell, I doubt it would feel like victory. It would feel hollow and maybe haunted. Right now, everything feels like it is building toward a breaking point. Trust hanging by a thread. Secrets piling up. Affection mixed with suspicion. And when it snaps, and it will snap, I do not think anyone walks away clean. Not Sonny. Not Turner. Not the people around them. This is not a simple cat and mouse game. It is two predators circling each other, pretending to be vulnerable, pretending to be in love, while both possibly planning a strike. And in that kind of situation, timing is everything. Whoever moves first might survive. The one who hesitates, even for love, might not.